What the hell is up, everybody? Louie here to break down another great night of fights. UFC Vegas 57, going back to the crowdless Apex. A little depressing after that amazing show in Austin, but we got a sick card. Last weekend did pretty well, profited. On picks, so-so, but I laid money on the right person. Buckley plus 200, made all my money there. Threw some money on Calvin Kattar, came up short, so what are you going to do? But I profited overall, finally. It is what it is. Some of the lines are a little long. You know, I had Kevin Holland, but that line was a little too much. And then, you know, Kyle Dawkins getting knocked out, minus 200, first fight of the night. That really screwed me. So, but it is what it is. This weekend, we got Arman Tsarukyan taking on Mateusz Gamrot. This is interesting because these guys are prospects for hardcore fans know them very well. But they're kind of they're outside the top 10, trying to get in the top 10, and they're the main event. But it's fine because both coming off wins. They're at 155, the hardest weight class, and whoever wins this is going to get a big jump up, and they're going to be a household name at 155. And then you got Neil Magny taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov. Very important fight for either guy. Neil Magny, if he beats Shavkat, he is officially that dude. He is that gatekeeper that does not let you pass unless you're worthy. And then if Shavkat beats Neil Magny, then he's right there, man, because Neil Magny is a tough customer for anybody. And then you got Chris Curtis taking on Rodolfo Vieira. Chris the Action Man Curtis. What a fight, man. Let's see what he can get done. And then you got Thiago Moises coming back. So, should be a decent card. Let's get right into it here. The first fight of the night, 115 pounds, women's strawweight. You got Vanessa DEMOPOULOS taking on Jinh Yu Frey. DEMOPOULOS took on Silvana Juarez her last fight. Pretty quick one. She gets dropped pretty badly, but she gets the armbar from guard, gets a submission. So we know she can persevere. Had to get a little lucky, I guess you would say, but has some skills on the ground. Before that, she took on JJ Aldrich. In the first round, she step in with her hands down. She eats a 1-2. But then she lands some step-in jabs, but then she gets doubled going for the jabs. Then in the second round, she lands a straight to the body and then a left hook. But she eats some jabs at range. She throws a 1-2 and then gets the underhook clinch, but doesn't really do much with it. But then she eats some jabs and she rushes with the 1-2, but they miss. And then she gets hurt with a body kick and eats some hooks at the end of the round. And then in the third round, she gets clinched on the fence. So she gets the clinch on the fence, but she can't hold her there. And then back in the middle, she dives for a single, and then she eats some ground and pound, gets put in half guard. Pretty bad shot. And then back on the feet, she lands a straight right, and she clinches and then lands some knees to the body to end it. But, you know, she's really good when she gets to the ground. She just basically has trouble getting it to the ground. And then Jinh Yu Frey took on Ashley Yoder her last fight. In the first round, she gets clinched right away, but she's able to keep the underhook and then gets to the body lock, and then she's able to frame off the head and then lands some punches from there. And then she lands a straight left whenever she gets rushed by Ashley. And she's able to slip her jabs. She lands a 1-2, but she eats some jabs while she's pressing forward in the pocket. Then in the second round, she lands a straight to the body and then the head, and she eats a jab, but she's able to stuff the shot. And then she's able to land a straight left when they break. And then she lands a straight right, and then a straight right to the body, and then a left cross to the head. And then she lands a step in, straight left, but she eats a counter left cross from Ashley. And then in the third round, she stays out of range of the 1-2s, is able to back right out. And then she lands a leg kicks in and out with those. And then she looks for a left cross off of Ashley's jab, and then she lands a straight left in the pocket. Pretty good showing from both of them. You know, DEMOPOULOS, a little bit outclassed by Aldridge, but she hung in there very tough, and then, you know, she throws a little wild. Jinh Yu Frey minus 230, DEMOPOULOS plus 195, and I think Jinh Yu Frey has the better technical skills. I think DEMOPOULOS might have trouble getting to the ground, but here's the deal. Minus 230 for Jinh Yu Frey after the upsets that happened last weekend. I'm not going to do it. I don't care. First fight of the night, lower level women's. Let's get crazy. Plus 195, Vanessa DEMOPOULOS. Vanessa DEMOPOULOS by submission, plus 600. Let's do it. Vanessa DEMOPOULOS. Let's go. Second fight of the night, 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. You got Brian Boom Boom Kelleher taking on Mario Bautista. Kelleher took on Umar Nurmagomedov his last fight and put up a decent fight, but ultimately gave up his back and got submitted with a rear naked choke in the first round. So, and then he took on Kevin Kroom, but that was at 145, and he just doubled him the whole time. So I went back to Domingo Pilarte fight at 135. And, you know, a lot of double action, but in the first round, he lands a right hook to the body, and then he gets a double off the fence. Then he lands some ground and pound from full guard. Then the second round, he presses with some hooks, and then he gets the double off of the fence, and then he pulls guillotine at the end. Doesn't get it, but he really tries for it, and, you know, he can't get it. But and then the third round, he gets a double off the fence, and then he's able to get on his back, and then Pilarte turns in, and he gets full guard, and just smashes away, basically. So just workman-like performances. Didn't really take too many risks, but dominated. And then Mario Bautista took on Jay Perrin his last fight. In the first round, he lands a jump knee, and he's able to defend the double leg attempt, but then he eats a jab and a body shot standing at range, but he's able to slip the jab, and then 1-2, and then he gets the underhook, and then he's able to get a knee tap, takedown right against the fence, very nice. And then he gets blast doubled but at the end, but he gets right back up. So decent takedown defense. Then in the second round, he lands a jump knee in the pocket. He's able to stuff the double attempt against the fence. He's able to get the clinch, and then the body lock drags him down. But then back on the feet, he eats some hooks off of the clinch break. But then he gets doubled, but he gets right back up, and he gets around his back standing. And then in the clinch, he able to land some elbow, a hard elbow in the clinch. But then he eats some body shots, hooks to the body in the pocket. Then in the third round, he lands some leg kicks at range. He lands a straight right, and then gets the underhook clinch again. And he's able to get his back and drag him down to the mat. And then he gets the underhook, and then he elbows him in the clinch. And then he gets the double leg takedown off the fence to end the fight. So very nice from him. Bautista minus 165, and Kelleher plus 140. I'm going back and forth. Brian Kelleher is typically the guy that, like, any lower level fighter he can beat, but I think Bautista might be a little more special than that. I think Bautista's takedown defense is decent. He might get taken down, but he pops right back up. I think Kelleher might struggle taking him down, and then I think Bautista might be able to hit him with some shots and wear him out, and it all hinges on the takedown. I'm willing to bet that Bautista is going to be able to get back up, and Kelleher might use his energy. Also, Kelleher kind of not taking a ton of damage, but he's getting a little on in the years. I don't like to fade guys because they get older, but, you know, it feels like it's Mario Bautista's time. I'm going to go with Mario Bautista here, and then the fight to go to the distance, minus 105. I think that's a safe bet for everybody. Official pick, Mario Bautista. Third fight of the night, 125 pounds, men's flyweight. I'm very sorry. Men's flyweight, 125 pounds. You got JP Buys taking on Cody Durden. JP Buys took on Montel Jackson his last fight, up at 135, short notice though. But I thought it was worth checking out. In the first round, he dives for the single, gets the body lock takedown, and then he gets him in full mount, and then he gets his back, but he gets shaken off, and he gets put in a standing guillotine, but he's able to get out of there. But then it doesn't get choked, but he gets pushed down, and he gives up his back from there. But then back on the feet, he's able to land a knee to the head in the clinch, and then he pulls the guillotine, goes for it, doesn't get it. Then the second round, he gets dropped with some straight lefts. Jackson kind of like grabs his hand and lands some straight lefts. Pretty nice sequence there. But, yeah, you know, he pops right back up. And then he wraps the front guillotine standing, but he gets wraps like around his body. So it's kind of like a front pack, I guess you would say, with the guillotine, but he's not able to finish there. And he gives up his back, and he has the Kimura, but it's not really doing anything. And then he lands a body kick, but he gets dropped with the straight right off of his body kick, naked body kick. And then he gets taken down with the body lock. Then in the third round, he gets dropped with the straight left at range. Then he gets dropped with another straight left. And then he's shooting a single too far out, gets pancake, tries the Kimura again, doesn't work. Questionable ring IQ in some spots, but, you know, fighting up weight class. And then Cody Durden took on Muhammad Mokaev his last fight. Basically gives up his back, gets choked pretty early on. So before that, he took on Aori Quilang, I think it's his name, sorry. Then in the first round, he gets a blast double and then ground and pound from full guard. Then he gets a double on the fence, switches to a single, and he's able to take him down in the wizard position, and Aori Lang has his back against the fence. But then when they break, he eats an uppercut in the pocket. Then the second round, he eats a body kick, but he's able to get into space, and he lands an overhand right. Then he lands a step-in jab from range, then eats some straight rights off of Aori Lang's leg kicks, but he's able to land an uppercut and some jabs against the fence, but then he eats some right hooks off of his jab, stepping in a little too much. Then in the third round, he's too far out, he shoots a far-out double, but then he's able to get the single from there, get into full guard, then transition to the body lock, get into full guard, and then he's able to able to get the trip there, and then he's able to keep him down for a little bit. But then they get back up, and he eats some short shots when they're exchanging in the pocket, but then he's able to get the clinch. Relatively competitive fight. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked much better in the first round, kind of gassed as the fight went on. Cody Durden, minus 105. JP Buys, minus 115. Another toss-up here. I kind of like JP Buys, I guess. I don't think Cody Durden hit super hard. I think the wrestling might kind of, wash itself out. And I think JP Buys is going to be able to go in rounds 2 and 3. Durden might pick up the first one, but I think Buys, I think his conditioning is really going to help here. And, good performance up weight class. The only bad thing I would say is going back down to 125. But, I mean, he's fought 125 before, then goes to 135, so it's not like a huge cut for him. So I'm going to hope that doesn't play a factor into it. Basically a pick 'em. My pick here is JP Buys. Featured fight of the prelims, I guess you'd say. 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. Holly and PAIVA taking on Sergey Morozov. PAIVA took on Sean O'Malley his last fight. In the first round, he eats some push kicks, but he's not able to get the clinch when he goes forward, a little too extended. But then he eats a jab at range. He throws a 1-2, but they're too short. Sean's able to slip him, but then he eats a jab, and he misses his 1-2. Then he lands some leg kicks in the pocket, but then he's eating some jabs off of his leg kicks. Then he gets rocked with the overhand right at range, and an uppercut, and then a right hook, which drops him, and then he gets TKO'd with a flurry on the feet. Just overcommitting a little too much, I guess you'd say. And maybe a little chinny in the first round, because before that, Kyle Phillips, he got absolutely rocked in that first round. But came back and won the fight somehow. Morozov took on Douglas Silva his last fight. In the first round, he lands a jab at range. He rocks him with the left hook, and then he drops him with left uppercut and lands some ground and pound full guard. Then he lands a knee to the head on the break, really vicious. And then he lands a body kick, gets a double off the fence. But then in the second round, he eats a left uppercut to the body, and then overhand right. He gets dropped with the right hook when he's trying to retreat, and then he gets pressed, and he gets dropped with another overhand right. But then he walks into a back fist, and then a left hook rocks him, and he gives up his back. And then he gets put in a body triangle and gets submitted through a naked choke. So, crazy fight. Had him in danger in the first round. Second round, just kind of got caught, I guess. I don't know. It was a crazy fight, but, I liked how he looked in the first round. Sergey Morozov, minus 145. PAIVA, plus 125. I'm going to go Sergey Morozov because I liked his first round showing. PAIVA has gotten rocked or KO'd first round of his last 2 fights. Morozov, strong first rounder. Second and third round, if it goes there, I don't know. I think he might be able to do enough in those rounds, but the line's not too far here. I'm going to take Morozov to land the heavier shots. And then you want to go under 2.5, plus 135. Why not? Plus money. Sergey Morozov. Co-main event of the prelims, 145 pounds, men's featherweight. You got YILAN taking on TJ Brown. YILAN took on Sean Soriano his last fight. In the first round, he eats some leg kicks, but he's able to get the blast double. And he tries full guard, tries to go for full mount, but he gets reversed with a bridge. But then back on the feet, he eats some straights to the body, and then his blast double attempt gets stuffed at the end. But then in the second round, he lands some jabs, but he eats a 1-2 and then a body hook. And then he shoots, and he gets pancaked over a little too far out. But he's able to keep the over-under position and reverses with the elevator, and then he's able to get on top of him and get full mount from there. And then he takes his back whenever he turns in, but he gets stepped over, and then he rolls through again, so it's a pretty fun scramble, and then he's able to keep the top position. So I really like seeing that scrambling ability from him. Then in the third round, he gets the double off of Sean Soriano's jab, and then he gets in the half guard, and he gets the back whenever Soriano turns, and then he gets a body triangle, a little bit of ground and pound and whatnot, and some ground control. And then TJ Brown took out Charles Rosa his last fight. In the first round, he catches the kicks and the overhand, and then he lands some overhands and some body kicks, and then a 1-2. And then he lands a leg kick, and he's able to get that mat return takedown. But then he slips the jab and then a 1-2 from Rosa, and he gets a clinch to a double, and then he's able to get in a half guard when he takes him down. Then the second round, he gets a double after Rosa throws his combination, steps in a little too much, and then he floats around the back, but he gets reversed with the underhook sweep. But he gets the single, and in the pull pop position is able to come out the back, and then he gets in a half guard, tries an arm triangle, doesn't fully commit to it, but I thought it was a good way to keep control at least. Then in the third round, he lands a right cross, and he gets the double, penetrates through Charles Rosa's guillotine attempt, gets into half guard, and he's able to get around the back, but he gets put in a guillotine again, but then pushed down into a front headlock, and then he gets pushed over, and Rosa gets on top, but he's able to grab the single from there, and he's able to get to the feet, and then he pulls all the way up and treetops it, trips him, but then he gets hipped over in a Darce attempt from the feet. So gets put in a Darce at the end, but that was kind of Rosa's last stand, and he wasn't really going to get it. So TJ Brown minus 200, Shah YILAN plus 170. I hate this price, and I've been going back and forth on it, but I think TJ Brown is solid enough. I think he might be a little sloppy at times, but, you know, YILAN isn't really a true threat on the ground. I think TJ Brown's wrestling is better. I think he's a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher in the clinch. I think he'll be able to get it there. I think he'll be able to land the bigger shots. It's a little pricey, so it might come back to haunt me, but my pick here is TJ Brown. Main event of the prelims, 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight. You got a fun slot fest here. You got Carlos ULBERG taking on NCHUKWI. ULBERG took on Fabio Cherant in his last fight. In the first round, he has that wide karate-like stance, just kind of moving in and out, not doing too much. Then he rushes forward, and then he eats a left hook, and then he gets clinched, but he's able to get the body lock, and he's able to push him down. But then back on the feet, he eats a left hook while he's standing in the pocket. Then in the second round, he lands a check left, and he starts pressing forward after that, and then he just kind of throws up some front kicks, nothing crazy. Then in the third round, he pressures him to the fence, and then he lands a straight to the body. But then he's able to slip the straight, and he's able to get around the back and get the mat return from there. But not really super great wrestling, just kind of looking for his moments. And then NCHUKWI took on Mirzakhanov his last fight. In the first round, he presses forward, but then he eats an overhand left, but then he presses and he eats a right hook, but then he's able to slip the overhand and he lands a 1-2 of his own toward the end of the round. Then in the second round, he gets the plumb tie, lands some knees to the body off of Azamad's hook, and then he's able to stuff the high crotch, but he eats a 1-2 off of Azamad's jab. Then he he's able to land a hook to the body and then a head kick down the second round, pretty strong for him. Then in the third round, he eats overhand left as he's coming inside the pocket, but then he gets pressed and he eats a left hook, and then he gets jump kneed and gets KO'd, kind of out of nowhere. So, you know, he was winning rounds 1 and 2, I thought, and then I'm just getting a little over aggressive in the third round, but I don't think Carlos ULBERG is gonna knock him out. So NCHUKWI minus 125, Carlos ULBERG plus 105. I'm going to go back and forth on this one. If you want to bet ULBERG, I don't blame you, but it is a slot fest. This might kill me, but usually when it's a coin flip, you want to go with the underdog, but I don't think it's even worth it. I don't think Carlos ULBERG is that great. I think NCHUKWI has more tools. I think he'd be able to get inside, land some power shots, clinch him, maybe even take him down. ULBERG just doesn't have enough activity for me. My pick here is NCHUKWI, and then the fights go the distance, plus 140. I like that bet as well. First fight on the main card, 185 pounds, men's middleweight. You got a certified banger on your hands. You got Chris, the Action Man Curtis, taking on Rodolfo Vieira. Curtis took on Brendan Allen his last fight. In the first round, he gets taken down with a single. He gets put in a backpack position, but he's able to push Brendan's foot down. He's able to turn into him, break free. Really good work from him. But then he eats a 1-2 in the pocket. And then when he's just kind of standing there straight on, eats it. And then he lands a right hook to the body off of Allen's jab. But then eats a body kick at range. But then his hook gets slipped and he eats a head kick. But then he's able to get the top position whenever Allen goes for the leg lock attempt. Allen, not great ring IQ, but Curtis able to take advantage of the situation. Lands some nice ground and pound. Second round, he eats a jab standing at range. Then he lands a right, then a left hook off of Allen's body kick, and then he lands a left hook to the body, and then a right hook to the head, and rocks him with that, and then he's able to get the KO with the flurry and just throw some knees in there for good measure and just gets him, dude. Curtis, patient, but power for centuries. And then Rodolfo Vieira took on Dustin Stoltzfus his last fight. In the first round, he lands a jab from range, a step in 1-2, then he backs out. Then he eats a back fist and then a straight right in the pocket. But then he lands a jab and he just starts circling, and then he keeps a high guard whenever Stoltzfus throws his hooks and blocks most of it. Then in the second round, he gets a blast double off of the fence. But then he lands some jabs from range, but then he eats a right cross off of his jab. And then he takes a bad shot, and then he eats a knee for his troubles. And then in the third round, he gets a blast double whenever he gets pressed with the jab. Stoltzfus a little too overextended. And then he's able to get the backpack position and get the rear naked choke submission So, classic Vieira, didn't guess out this time, made it to a third round. So, Vieira plus 105, Chris Curtis minus 125. Yeah, I'm going to go with Chris Curtis. Brennan Allen, good grappler, maybe not as decorated as Vieira, but Chris can hang with him. Chris has decent wrestling defense. If it's just a striking battle, I think Curtis wins. I think he might even get a knockout. But you never know. And Chris Curtis by submission is plus 2,000. And Rafa Vieira got tapped out by Fluffy Hernandez. So crazy shit happens. Who knows? Have some fun. Plus 2,000. But the pick, Chris, the Action Man Curtis. Second fight on the main card, 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. Should be a fun one here, man. You know, it's a big opportunity for either guy. You got Nate Maness taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar Nurmagomedov, you know, a lot of hype on him. He's heavily favored. He needs a win here just to prove he belongs. And then Nate Maness, if he can get a win here, wow. You know, Nate Maness took on Tony Gravely his last fight. In the first round, he jabs at range, but he eats overhand, but he's able to defend the initial double attempt. Then he lands an uppercut, but he eats a left hook, and he gets taken down with the double after that. Then he gets put in a FREY headlock, but he's able to get the double leg, but then he gets clinched to the fence, and then he gets double unders, and he breaks free out of that, though, so I like seeing that. But then he eats some body kicks, but then he lands a jab, but he gets dropped with the right hook at the end of the round. Then in the second round, he eats some hooks, and he gets clinched, but then he slides out of the range of Tony's kick, and then he lands a left hook to the body and then a right uppercut, and then just knocks Tony Gravely the fuck out. And Nate Maness was like inches away from getting knocked out at the end of that first round, and then he was like a zombie and came back and did it. So gotta have respect for that guy. Can't count that guy out ever. Umar Nurmagomedov took on Brian Kelleher his last fight. In the first round, he used some front kicks and some question mark kicks at range, and then he was able to reverse Brian's clinch with some underhooks. And then he backs up, he lands some jabs, and he shoots a double, but it gets defended with the Wizard by Kelleher. Then he's able to get the double against the fence, and then he's able to work around his back, slips his left leg in for the hook, and then gets a rear naked choke against the fence like that. So, you know, it looked like Kelleher maybe just didn't react fast enough, or maybe he knew he was beat, but, you know, Umar got it done, man. Umar minus 1,500 straight up, and then Nate Maness plus 900. You just got to go with Umar here, man. He's a Nurmagomedov. You can't really count him out here. Nate Maness, very tough guy, but, you know, I think Nurmagomedov is just going to be able to take him down. And, you know, Nurmagomedov, more of a submission guy. He has those great kicks, but... So, I'm just going to go with Umar. If I'm wrong, then the whole world is on fire, I guess. Umar Nurmagomedov by submission, plus 100, even money. I think that's a safe bet. But if you want to get crazy, you can go KO, plus 400. Either one of those, but Umar Nurmagomedov, the Eagle Jr. The third fight on the main card out of 6. 155 pounds, men's lightweight. You got Thiago Moises making his return, taking on Christos Giagos. Moises took on Joel Alvarez his last fight. Alvarez missed weight, by the way, for that fight. In the first round, he lands a leg kick and a jab, but he misses his overhand. Then he lands a right cross off of Alvarez's jab. Then he eats some knees and some straight rights against the fence. Then he eats a step in, overhand right, and then some elbows against the fence. His kick is caught, and he eats some hooks and elbows from there and just gets TKO'd. Just kind of gets run over, unfortunately, but, you know, what are you going to do? Christos Giagos took on Arman Tsarukyan his last fight. In the first round, he's able to pancake Arman's takedown attempt, and he's able to get on top. Can't really do much from there, though. But then his kick gets caught, and then he eats a left hook and gets dropped, and then just gets TKO with some ground and pound. So, you know, both guys going through a little bit of a rough patch here. Giagos plus 210, Moises minus 250, and honestly, I really don't know. I just think Moises is more experienced. He hung in there with Islam for 4 rounds, took Islam down. I think, you know, as long as Moises isn't like gun shy but getting knocked out, but both guys got knocked out, so, you know, they're kind of equal in that aspect. I mean, Christos Giagos is live, but I just have a feeling about Thiago Moises. I might be wrong, and, you know, I would deserve to lose. But I think Moises is just going to... I think as the fight goes on, he'll get a little better, and I think he'll be able to win the clinch exchanges, stuff takedowns, get a couple takedowns of his own. Maybe go for a submission attempt. My pick here is Thiago Moises. Don't know how, though. Alright, everybody. On to the feature fight of the main card. Don't know why this is it, but we got some low-level slotfest action at heavyweight. You got Josh Parisian taking on Alan Baudot. Josh Parisian took on Dontel Mays his last fight. In the first round, he eats a leg kick and gets clinched and tripped into side control, but he gets up, but he gets tripped down with a back trip and can't get up. And then in the second round, he eats a jump knee and a 1-2 to the body, but then he lands on top of the trip attempt of Mays, and then he gets around the back, but can't really do anything. Second round, he lands a 1-2 from range and a body kick, but he eats a back fist. But then they get into a clinch, and then he gets taken down with a single from there. But then he gets back tripped and gives up his back, and then he gets put in the crucifix and gets TKO'd with some elbows. Classic crucifix. And then Alan Baudot took on Parker Porter his last fight. In the first round, he gets pressed, eats some 1-2s in the pocket, but then he's able to land an uppercut. But then he gets clinched to the fence. He lands a body kick, but he gets taken down with a body lock trip from there. And then in the second round, he gets pressed with leg kicks and overhands, and he's able to back out of range, but then he gets clinched by Porter. Then he gets taken down, but he bridges out, and he gets in the front headlock, but he gives up, and then he bridges out, and he's able to get the front headlock position, but then he gives up his back, and Porter's able to float around, and then he's able to stuff the double, but then he gets clinched toward the end. And then in the third round, he lands a jab, then he circles, then he lands a lead left hook when Porter rushes in, then he lands a jab from range, then he lands an uppercut and hooks whenever he gets pressed inside the pocket, but he's able to stuff the body lock, but then he gets doubled off the fence and ridden out for the rest of the round. So, decent fight, but Porter is able to seal that takedown and just control a little more. Baudot, minus 120, Josh Parisian, plus 100. Don't know, toss up here, low level. Parisian got finished with the crucifix, and Alan Baudot didn't, and Parker Porter is tough, and Alan Baudot hung in there with him and gave him a pretty good fight. I think Baudot is going to be able to land some bigger shots. I don't think Parisian's not going to be able to do anything like grappling. Maybe Baudot can get a takedown. Who knows? Coin flip, whatever. My pick is Alan Baudot. Fight to go the distance, plus 130. Two big guys might be taking their time. A lot of clinch work. I like that one. Alan Baudot. On to the co-main event of the evening, 170 pounds. You got Neil, the Haitian sensation Magny, taking on Shavkat Nomad Rakhmonov. Huge fight here, huge stakes for either guy. If Shavkat wins, he's legitimate. He's a contender instantly at 170. And then if Neil Magny wins, he is officially that deadly gatekeeper that does not let anybody that's not elite pass. So, very big stakes here, I think. Neil Magny took on Max Payne Griffin his last fight. In the first round, he eats a right hook while he's pressing. But then he presses with jabs. But then he gets dropped with a straight right. Pretty hard, but he's able to recover decently well, in my opinion. Then back on the feet, he eats some straights, but he's able to finally get inside with some jab feints. Then in the second round, he eats a body kick and some 1-2s while he's pressing. But he keeps his high guard. He's able to block a lot of it. But then he eats a lead uppercut and then a left and right hook while he's pressing forward. Then he lands some jabs and some straight shots. He's able to rock him at a point. And then his single attempt gets stuffed with the underhook from Max, though. But he eats some jabs while he's looking to get the double. Then he's able to get around his back standing against the cage. And then he's able to land some elbows from there. It's kind of Magny's thing, like looking for the clinch. And then, like short time left, and he'll get it and land some elbows, do some damage, and maybe sway the judges. So that's the veteranship of Neil Magny. Then in the third round, he lands a knee to the body in the clinch, and he drives it all the way across across the octagon all the way to the other fence, and then he's able to slip his left leg in and he has his back, and then he's able to drag him down, and then he puts both hooks in, but he's too high, loses a position, but then toward the end, lands some elbows in the clinch. And a relatively close fight, but Magny is a veteran, and I think he won this positions there and was able to do some damage in the clinch. Then Shavkat Rakhmonov took on Carlston Harris his last fight. In the first round, he pumps some jabs, and he slides out of range. Then he lands a 1-2. Then he lands a back kick to the body. Then he's able to reverse the clinch against the fence. And he's able to get the wizard kick takedown, but he's not able to hold him down. No problem. Then he backs out of range, and then he lands a spinning back kick to the head, drops him, stands over him. TKO with ground and pound. Classic. Shavkat, minus 475. Neil Magny, plus 380. Those odds are insane. I could see Neil Magny possibly winning, but I just have a feeling Shavkat's going to be able to go through rounds, and I think he could at least win the first two. I think he's going to be able to be a front runner against Magny, and then whenever you can damage Magny, you might have a hard time catching up. It's only 3 rounds, though, so I would favor Shavkat in the 3 rounds. 5 rounds, maybe things are different, but I think Shavkat's going to be able to do some damage, hit him with some big shots, maybe drop him, and I don't think Magny's going to be able to clinch him up like that. If he does, I think Shavkat's going to be able to pummel out. But it could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm taking a big loss for disrespecting Neil Magny. But anyway, my pick here is Shavkat, and fight to go distance, plus 130. You know, Neil Magny's pretty tough. I think it's doable. Plus money, can't go wrong. But Shavkat Rakhmonov. On to the main event of the evening, 155 pounds, men's lightweight. You got a real banger here. You got something special. Both guys are like a little outside the top 10, and they're just looking to break through. And you got two prospects fighting each other, but they're highly ranked, highly respected, and arguably the toughest weight class in the sport. So big stakes for either guy. They want to get up there. Whoever wins this fight is going to be shot into contendership, not necessarily title talks, but, you know, they'll be in the top 10, and they'll be right there, a couple fights away from fighting for a title, or at least talking about a title. So huge stakes here. Arman Tsarukyan took on Joel Alvarez his last fight. Alvarez, who just dismantled Thiago Moises. In the first round, he catches a kick, and he's able to get on top, get into full guard, land some vicious elbows. Second round, he lands a left hook, and then gets the single, switches off to a double, lands some hard elbows inside his side control, and then he's able to get around the back, throw some ground and pound, get the TKO. Smart, doesn't waste time to go for the choke, just hits him, does what he can, gets the TKO. I loved it. And left Alvarez a bloody mess. Mateus Gamrot took on Carlos Diego Vieira his last fight. In the first round, he lands a head kick at range. He shoots a high C to a double, and he's able to float around the back, but Carlos sits out, can't control him. Then he lands a blast high C to a double again, and he's able to get him, but Carlos doesn't stay down there very long. Then his kick gets caught, and he eats some body kicks. Then he eats a right hook in a pocket exchange, but he's able to get the blast double off a step-in jab from Vieira. And then he's able to land some ground and pound. Can't do a whole lot, though. Back on the feet, he eats a 1-2 at range, but then he lands a 1-2 off of Carlos's hook. Second round, he backs out of the range of 1-2. Then he lands a straight right. And then he shoots a double, doesn't really get it, follows up with another double, and then he's able to get on top of him. I really like that follow-through. And then back on the feet again, he's able to get the high single, hits a bow step, and he's able to get around his back. And then he knees him in the ribs, and Carlos can't continue anymore. Technically, TKO. Didn't look like he was really hurt, but for whatever reason, he just quit, maybe popped out or something. But nonetheless, TKO victory, pretty impressive. And if you saw Carlos Vieira and Gregor Gillespie, you know Carlos is an animal. And Gillespie almost broke himself to break Carlos. So very impressive. Mateus Gamrot, plus 260. Arman Tsarukyan, minus 315. This line's insane. I just really think Tsarukyan's going to win. Neither guy's super familiar with 5-round fights. I just think Gamrot might tire himself out shooting. He's going to shoot from too far away. I think Tsarukyan's going to be able to stuff him. Most of them, even if he does get taken down, I think he'll be able to get back up. And then I think Tsarukyan's striking is superior. I think he hits harder. I think he's going to make Gamrot pay for missing those takedowns. Will it go 5 rounds? I don't know, but the distance prop is minus 105, so it's like even money. I don't know, it might go a distance, who knows. It's a main event at 155, competitive fight. I don't know, I kind of like that one, but my official pick here is Arman Tsarukyan. And if I'm wrong, man, that's going to be a huge missed opportunity, but it is what it is, man. I really think he's going to win from the tape study. Sometimes you got to go with your gut. All right, guys, that's UFC Vegas 57. Should be some fun fights. Appreciate you guys rolling with me, watching me. Won last week, so doing better. Check the description, leave a comment down below, like the video, share the video, leave me some comments, leave me some knowledge, ask me some questions, anything. I'm always down to learn, always down to talk about stuff. Check my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that stuff. I'll do a post video. You can hit me up on there, ask me a question, show me your picks. I'd love to see them. Appreciate you guys. Should be a fun card. Let's see some superstars being born. Let's see some upsets maybe. Let's see some violence, and let's see some profits. Thanks, everyone. Good luck.